So when something that we always try to highlight, and he's always kind of made it a point to teach us as we were growing up. So when your role shifted again, and eventually you were released and you got out of baseball, what did that what did that season of life teach you about identity beyond baseball?
Well, um, I look back on those times, and it took me a couple years to not have the desire to stay in the game. I
Mm.
would send my audio and visual tapes off to try and get in broadcasting, and
Yeah.
God just didn't want me to stay, I guess. I'll have to ask him when I get up there why I couldn't stay in the game for my life. I wanted to be Bob Uecker kind of guy when I got done playing, but I had a better career than he had on the field.
Right.
So I go back to when my mom and dad brought me up, and my dad getting up every morning, he would carpool it with 5 other guys, go to work, clock in, clock out, come home, take the overalls off, go out and play catch with me, throw footballs in the football season, shoot baskets, and my dad just worked.
Yeah.
So when I had to go to work, I I said, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so just do it. I took the old Nike theme up. Go to work and do it. If I was a traveling guy, which I was in my real estate career, and I had to fly around the country, I got to get up, I got to go to the airport, got to get on a plane, I got to go meet with somebody, and I got to make a pitch for my services, my company's products and services. And I said, I just got to do it.
Right.
And so I had that, and it took a while, but after a couple of years, this is what the Lord wants me to do. I still have a platform, having been a former Major League Baseball player, which I use more nowadays than I did those early days when I got out of the game.
Right.
Working hard was not a problem for me,
Right.
and it is for a lot of guys. Even nowadays, these guys that come out of the game today with millions in their pockets and in their bank accounts, they still have a tough time adjusting.
Yeah.
And but I didn't, but I couldn't. I had to make a living
Right.
for my family, and so I kind of take a little bit of pride on those days of my life when my career ended. That hey, you know, uh, you can give glory to God by going to work every day and doing a good job at a regular job.
Yep.
You don't have to be a baseball player.
Right.
Right. Well, run us through the story of when you became a broadcaster after with the Braves, signed you a 2-year contract, and
Yeah, I got a call from Ted Turner. He must have remembered of what I told him when I got traded over here, and he said we're thinking of adding a 4th guy to the booth, because back in those days they would do 4.5 innings or 3.5 innings on TV and then go to radio, and the 3 of them would switch around, and he didn't have a color guy with one of the guys all the time. So I said, I'm in. And he said, okay, we're gonna sign you to a 2-year contract, $32,000 a year. I didn't care how much money it was.
right
I'm back in the game.
Right.
opportunity.
Right.
And so, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And having the chance to broadcast your 13-0 start in '82.
That was unbelievable.
And that going through that whole season, the ups and downs, 13 games to start the season off, and then it comes down to the last day to win the pennant. I can remember going in the clubhouse, celebrating with everybody, and I was crying. I was crying for 2 reasons. Number one, I got a chance to do this and stay in the game, and number 2, I was so happy for all these guys
Yeah.
because I celebrated a world championship like that,
Right.
and I was hoping, man, it would be great for these guys to get in the World Series because they work so hard all year,
Yeah.
And I got the chance, and when I went to spring training as a broadcaster my first year, we did maybe 3 or 4 practice games on TV,
Right.
and I went at it cold. I didn't get any coaching from the first game I did was with Pete. I didn't get any coaching from Pete or Joe or Peter or Skip or Ernie. They just thought, hey, let's see what he does. And I ran a couple commercials for the guys, and I wasn't the most popular Atlanta Brave. Now I was there as a player 4 years, and I had 1 year as a regular player, and the rest of them was utility backing up
Right.
great shortstops like Pat Rocket and Pepe Frias. I mean, I packed up a lot of guys that I thought I should have been playing in front of.
That's
Right.
right.
But anyway, so I go into spring training without a whole lot of practice, but played the game long enough to know what I needed to do. And I can tell you, for 2 years, I did as good as I could.
Right.
I did as good as I could, and then the end came. And do you want to hear that story? We talked about it earlier.
Yeah. That's a good.
So in '82, the Braves win this thing, and we celebrate. I can remember flying back from San Diego, and I can remember going to St. Louis to start the playoffs. And we lost the first game, and Nuxie's pitching the second game, and he's throwing a shutout after before 5 innings are up, and the game gets rained out. We'd have won that game.
We could have played that day.
Yeah,
too.
we sure. And St. Louis didn't. I don't know how it works, but St. Louis or the umpires, we could have won that game today, and that had helped us win the series. But worst comes to worst, and we lose the thing. But Ted Turner came up during that series in the broadcast booth and before one of the games, and he put his arm around everybody and he said, "Oh man, you guys, you did such a great job this year. Our ratings were one of the reasons he bought the Braves wasn't to make any money for the Braves initially.
Right.
It was to take his TV ratings. We
Right.
were the only team you could watch around the country. It was the Braves."
Right.
America's team.
America's team. And we were popular, and he put his arm around us. "Well, great job, you guys. Our ratings were the highest they've ever been. I can't wait for next year." 2 weeks later, I'm called into the office, and my contract was up. And I can remember my wife, Cindy, telling me, my son, Keith, was 10 years old. She says, "No, wait, you go back in here." She says, "Get at least another 2-year contract and get a little raise." And I says, "Okay, baby, I'll do it." We had $600 in the bank. I had a mortgage on a house in Stone Mountain here. Son was 10 years old, paying on a couple cars. You know how it is.
Yep.
Kind of living from paycheck to paycheck, but you're in baseball, and everybody's thinking you're a millionaire.
Right.
So I go in, and the vice president of baseball operations for the Braves back then was a guy named Al Thornwell, who was one of Ted Turner's first investors in his TV station, WTCOG in Charlotte, which he brought down to Atlanta, named WTBS. Al had made a fortune in the garbage collection business in Augusta, Georgia, and he invested in Ted's operation. So Ted, I guess, thought he owed him one. Early on, Ted didn't have anybody in his front office that really knew a whole lot about baseball.
Right.
And Al was one of them. He was named vice president of baseball operations, and he was in charge of the broadcasters and all this kind of stuff. So I had my meeting with Al, and I walk in, I sit down, and he kind of looks like he just got off a cruise. He had a cruise shirt on and no socks, and he says, "Well, Darrel, thanks for coming in." I said, "Hey, looking forward to our discussion, Al." He said, "Well, we've had a couple of meetings, and we've decided to make a couple of changes to our broadcasting operation." And I says, like, really gullible, I said, we are. What are we going to do?" And he says, "Well, we're going to let you go." And man, I tell you, I wasn't expecting that one. And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, I was just told to let you go." I said, "Well, give me a reason, Al. I got a mortgage. I got car payments. I got a kid. You let me know what the offer is, and I'll let you know if I can make the house payments out of it or not." And he, quote unquote, I'll never forget it. He said, "I was just told to tell you, we think you can make a better living working for someone else." And I said, "Run that by me again. That doesn't sound like I did anything wrong." He said, "I was just told to tell you, we think you can make a better living working for someone else." And I said, "Gee whiz, I wasn't expecting this." I said, "Well, how about this? I want to stay in the game, Al. I'll go back minor leagues, coach, instructor. I just want to stay in the game." And the second quote, I'll never forget, he says, "I was just told to tell you that there's no opportunity for you in the Atlanta Braves organization." And I said, "Well, let's get up and shake hands before I drop you right here, Al." And I walked out, and I came home, and Cindy says, "Well, did you get a raise?" And I said, "No, honey, I got fired." And she couldn't believe it. The next day, in the sporting section of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, written by Wayne Minshew. I don't know if you
Wayne,
understand.
yeah, I remember Wayne.
Wayne's article was, Darrel Chaney leaves broadcasting team for full-time real estate. I called Wayne Minshew up, and I said, hey, Wayne, that's not the truth. I said, I got fired. Why don't you tell people? I said, I got to live with it. Why don't you tell people out there
Right.
that I've got fired? I didn't quit on the Braves. I wanted to
Right.
stay in the game all my life.
Right.
He never did retract that story.
Mm.
So, and I had 30 speeches lined up for the Braves radio crew that off season. And I go back to the PR guy, and he must have known I was going to get fired, because he says, are you still going to do those speeches for us? And I said,
I don't think so.
No.
No.
No. Are you going to pay me for them? Come on. So I walked out, went home, and Cindy was, she couldn't believe it. And but that happened on a Friday, Halloween night, matter of fact. And I had some consoling from Bill Akery, the traveling secretary, and a clubhouse guy.
Mm.
He came to the house, but I never did hear on that from my broadcasting team. I didn't hear from Pete or Joe or Skip, which kind of disappointed me. But that happened on a Friday, and then Monday I went into the real estate office and asked Mr. Royer for that job, and I got in the real estate business, and I stayed in that for 20 years.
That's great.
Awesome.
So you're, tell us about your Darrel Chaney Invitational.
Got a golf tournament up in Helen, Georgia, and hubby's coming again this year.
Yep.
It's our 25th anniversary. It's my 46th year in a row of doing a celebrity fundraising golf tournament. Now that's a pretty long career, isn't
That's
Yep.
well,
So-
it's giving back too. That's wonderful.
And that's where the Lord's blessed me. I think He's had me doing this for long, because it's helping. We've helped a lot of people over the years up in that community in North Georgia, White County, which is probably the poorest, if not the poorest, one of the poorest counties in the state of Georgia. Our beneficiary is United Way of White County. All the money stays in the county, and there's 16 different agencies that benefit from the proceeds of our tournament. And my tournament provides 95% of the annual funding for United Way of White County. So it's a big deal up there.
That's amazing.
We started it 25 years ago when I was the only celebrity that was auctioned off. A guy paid $800 to play golf with me. And so that was $800 more than they were going to raise in their first ever event. And I just spoke up and said, we can do this every year, and I can get celebrities. And the next year we had 36 celebrities, and it's just been going on and on. It's a 2-day event, actually a 3-day event now. It'll be on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of April this year. Information, you go to unitedwaywhitecounty.org, and you can click down and see the Darrel Chaney Invitational. The Sunday at noon on the 19th, we have in the hotel, our host hotel there, the Holiday Inn and Express, we have a silent auction that starts, and it goes all the way through to the end of Tuesday night. So the celebrities start coming in. People from the public can start coming in and bid on these auction items. We have also live auction items that we auction off the next 2 days during our functions. We have a Monday night. All the celebrities can come in on Monday and practice round of golf. And Monday night we have a reception open to the public at Big Daddy's restaurant.
Big Daddy's.
Big
good,
Daddy's in Helen.
Good eating.
Good eating.
food.
And then on Tuesday we play the round of golf, and we have a post golf catered by Cowboys and Angels, the #1 restaurant in Atlanta, in Helen. Could be in Atlanta. They're really good for the closing of the banquet. While we're golfing on Tuesday, while the golfers are golfing, we have what we call a companions outing, where because when I started this tournament up in the mountains, I said, look, if we're going to get some guys to drive up from Atlanta, I want to make it worth their while.
Right.
You know, I go to all these golf tournaments. My wife never gets invited.
Right.
So let's do something for the ladies.
For the ladies, right.
So we established the companions outing. It's sponsored. While we're out golfing, the ladies go wine tasting. They go shopping with 20 to 40% discounts at local establishments. They have a motivational speaker come in. They have lunch catered to them at a beautiful mountain venue, and they have a great day. The ladies love it. They love it so much that they say, "My husband's coming back next year because I want to come back.
Because I want to be a part of
Bargain
it.
shopping.
So it's been a real big success, and we're hoping this year being our 25th anniversary that we could top it all off by raising the most money we've ever raised. It's very difficult for any of you that have done charity work. Number one is to get volunteers to do the work they volunteer for.
Right.
And so when we started 25 years ago, we've got about 12 people involved in our committee that have been with us all 12 years. They've got the same responsibilities they've had every year, so they know what they're doing, and we run them. It's a pretty well run machine, and got it all coordinated to where when someone comes up there, they know they're going to have a good time and they're going to get taken care of, and so it's a fun time.
Yep.
And the joy I have from doing that comes number one while the event's going on, just to see everything coming together. I can remember the first year Ernie Johnson Sr. and Chief Nakahoma came together. They hadn't seen each other in 25 years.
Yeah.
And those guys hugged and cried, and they're both gone now. But we have, at the end of the day, sometime during the summer, there'll be an allocation meeting where the agencies will be awarded their portion of the proceeds. And they have to apply for how much money they want and all that.
Right.
And I go to those things because my name's on the tournament, and I go to those things and I hand out the checks. And all the people that benefit from that tournament are all volunteer workers. Nobody's on a payroll of any of these agencies up there. And so that means they don't have a budget for any of this stuff. And so the money means so much to them. And they cry when they get a check, and they come and give me a hug. And, that's very meaningful. And I believe God put me in that spot to do those kinds of things. And so I don't know how much longer he's going to have me doing this. I'm going to be 78, and I've got 46 years under my belt. So, but it's been good. When we get to heaven, there used to be a Christian singer out there named Ray Boltz.
Yep.
And Ray Boltz came out of the closet one day. So I had all this music, so I threw it all away. But he had a song that said, "Thank you for giving to the Lord."
Yep.
And it's about when you get to heaven, all these people that you had an impact on that got to heaven because of what you said or did, come and say hi.
Yep.
I can't wait for that time.
Yep.
I can't wait for that time.
Well, I'm happy to be going up there. I know for years you used to send me an email, and I'd say, "Darrel, I'm still working. I can't make it."
Yeah.
I said, "But keep sending them because one day I'm going to retire."
Yeah. And I appreciate you coming because.
And it was wonderful the day I could say, "I'm coming."
Yeah. Yep. And I'm glad you're coming. And we've, one of the things when I said a comment about making sure volunteers do the work they volunteer for, I'm in charge of getting celebrities there. So I'm pretty persistent in doing that. And a lot of celebrities, especially the ones that are getting my age or older, you got to remind them. I send them an invitation, and they say they never got it, and then I call them up and they say, "I didn't get your phone call." So I continue to follow up to make sure
you have to.
the guy's here for us. You got to do that, and that's just time. It's time well spent at the end of the day. So when we get to heaven, Hub, we can play a little catch together. I got to tell you about Hubby here. A couple things he probably doesn't remember, but in 1979. I had been told by Bobby Cox, with 2 weeks to go in the season, that I was going to get released. But he said, "I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you play the last couple of weeks of the season, so other clubs can take a look at you." And I said, "Well, I appreciate that." But I knew I was going to be let go, and he did. I hit over 300 for the last 2 weeks of that season. But nobody was watching, and who cared? Boy, we were bad in '79. Jeez. And so our last game that year was in Cincinnati, and I tied the game up in the top of the ninth inning off of Don Gullett. And I remember Bob Horner coming up to me and saying, "Thanks a lot. You made me miss my flight."
Yep.
When the game ended, though, we lost. I think Foster hit a home run to beat us, wasn't it?
Yep.
And I'm sitting in the dugout just kind of taking it all in. It started in Cincinnati. I played in the World Championship team here, enjoyed my time with the Braves, but I think it might be coming to an end if I don't get a job with anybody else. And hubby comes walking out to the dugout, and it's just me and him, and he just said, I just want to say thanks I really enjoyed turning some double plays with you. You don't remember that, but that meant a lot to me, buddy. It meant a lot to me. And so, and then when I've been heavily involved in the Major League Alumni Association, and I was a chairman of the board for 8 years, and on the regular board for 26 years, a non-paying position. And I just got tired of traveling all over the country and doing these things for nothing. And but I enjoyed my time there, and I can remember when hubby lost his house. The next day, I had a check for $1,000 for him from the Major League local chapter that we wanted to offer hubby. He didn't take it, but I can remember walking. I can remember driving over here and I didn't know what to expect. And then when I pulled up and the house was gone basically, and then here comes hubby walking out from around the side of the house with a pair of waders on. He just come out of the basement.
Yeah, there was nothing left.
It was a sad sight to see.
Yeah.
And it's great to be sitting down here right now seeing that this has all been rebuilt and his life's been great. And he's got the kids off and doing a good thing. He's been a great dad. And so the relationship that I've had with hubby in the game of baseball and, a lot of guys.
Yeah.
But there's some that are close to your heart, and hubby's one of them.
Awesome.
Thank you. There was 2 guys that showed up the next day after that fire. It was my State Farm agent and you with that check.
Yeah.
And I appreciated it.
Yeah, it's just hard to, when a trial, a tribulation, or some tragedy comes on in your life, God doesn't really just turn a switch on and say, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. I mean, right away you're thinking, Lord, what am I going to do?
Right.
And then you had, Matthew had almost, you had that with Matthew, and then the other son with the broken arm. And it just seems like it piles on sometimes. But I'm here to say to anybody listening that doesn't know or have Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior in their life, you're not going to find peace and comfort through anything like that unless you have that relationship. You're just not going to do it.
That's right.
I don't know how people can go through things, and most of them don't. Most people don't go through a bad time easily without having the Lord on their side. So I can tell you time and time again. I'll tell you a story. After I was done playing, I had a real estate company up in the mountains, a Prudential real estate franchise. And I had 2 partners. And of course, I had my real estate license when I got traded down here to the Braves. That was one of my fallbacks. So when I got fired from broadcasting, I got into the real estate business. When I moved to the mountains, we were caretakers for my wife's parents for 11 years here in Stone Mountain or in Gwinnett County. They passed away. We moved to the mountains, started the real estate business, and I started another construction company up there. But our real estate business was going along pretty good, and 2007, 8, and 9 come along. It was one of the worst real estate markets in history.
Yeah.
And we were in trouble. We had 2 offices. We were getting ready to build a 3rd, and the market tanked, and we were losing. We were going to lose the business. And we had a big house up there, 5,500 square foot house, beautiful view of the mountains, living the life that we thought God wanted us to live at that time. And now we're crashing. And I can remember going to church one Sunday, and our pastor says to me, we're getting ready to start a school for our youth. And we're going to build a building, and we need some seed money. And we're going to have our fall festival coming up next year, or this year. And just think about, making a donation for the seed money for the school. And I'm thinking, boy, you couldn't have asked me this at a worse time.
Right.
Next weekend, we have our fall festival, and they had this thing called a reverse auction. And the guy running the reverse auction was selling 100 tickets at $100 a piece. Hey, Darrel, baseball player, got all this money, right?
Right.
Real estate company. Buy one of these tickets. And I was a little hesitant, but it was for church. the way it was going to work out was $5,000 was going to go to the winner of the raffle. It was a reverse raffle. Last name pulled out wins. And the other $5,000 was going to go to the church for the seed money.
Mm.
I stayed for a while for the, it was like 100 guys' names to pull out, and the guy was taking his time, so I went home.
Right.
I'm walking my dog, and Cindy comes running out of the house. You won't believe this. You won that raffle.
Wow.
We got $5,000. Wait to hear this. This is a God story.
Mm.
Man, we needed that money.
Yeah.
So that was on a Saturday. Sunday we go into church. Pastor says, "What are you going to do with that $5,000 you won?" I didn't tell him I was in some financial hurt.
Right.
I said, I don't know. He says, I need that money for that school. That $5,000 the church got, if you pray hard on this and give me another $5,000, we got $10,000 to start this thing and be well on our way. Just go home and pray about it. I said, yeah, go home and pray about it. Oh, Lord, what are we going to do? We prayed about it. Next Saturday night, Cindy, my wife, who is the most giving person I've ever met, says, we got to give the money to the church. So we wrote a check for $5,000, walk into church Sunday and hand the pastor $5,000. The very next morning, I had started this construction company that's still going today. It's called Prime Retail Services. I've sold my interest in it long ago and everything. But back then, the company was just starting up. And I was a 5% minority owner in the company. And my 5% was given to me just to head up sales and marketing. That Monday morning, we had a distribution to the owners. So the company had 5 guys at that time owned the company. And my share was, guess what?
$5,000.
$5,000.
Oh, my.
We tied 10% of that to the church and kept what was left. And
Can't outgive God.
God just took us out of that and said, here. And all the scriptures that point to tithing are near and dear to my heart. I don't know how many times I've got on a pulpit at our church and talked to people about not giving up on your tithes, no matter how tough times get. And thanks to Cindy, my wife, as many times as I wanted to say, okay, well, let's just not tithe this week because we need it for this, she'd say, no, we're not gonna ever give up on God. We're gonna give him.
That sounds like
we're gonna give him that 10%.
That sounds like somebody that's upstairs. She don't budge.
Well,
She don't budge.
I'm glad you mentioned Cindy because through all of what you went through, whether it was the broadcasting thing, getting out of baseball as a player, real estate, she's been there. She's been your strength. And God gives us helpmates, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And she deserves as much attention. She probably helps you with the golf tournaments.
She does. I can remember when we got traded down here. When we went to real estate school we both went to real estate school together to get our real estate licenses. I thought, well, I'm done playing. Broadcasting doesn't work. We fall back on real estate. We'll be a husband and wife sales team. She's the CFO of the Chaney family. I don't know where any of our money is. None of that. Yeah. And if I always tell her, I hope I go before you because I don't want to deal with this stuff. Now it's tax time. She's getting all that together.
Right.
But when we started out, we thought we're gonna be a husband wife team. She'll do all the she'll write the contracts, do all the financing stuff. I'll do all the sales because I can talk, as you all know. And we both got our real estate licenses together, and then I got that job. I got that paid job after I got fired as a broadcaster. So Cindy stayed home and was mom to Keith, and so we and all through this, I should mention this too. All through this time, when we got traded down here, our son was 6 years old, and coming to Atlanta, I always thought I was trade bait, but where would you, if you had your choice, where would you go? San Diego was my number 1 pick because of the weather.
Right.
Number 2 was Atlanta because I always liked coming here.
Yeah.
So we get traded, Dave Bristol, who had managed me in Cincinnati and taken me to the big leagues, he's got the managing job in Atlanta. And I got him fired twice, once in Cincinnati and once here. So we're thinking, okay, we're going to go to Atlanta. And Cindy says, I wonder if they got a Kroger down there. Do they just, are they all the kids that go to school, are they barefoot, drive trucks, chew tobacco? all these images you have of the
Right.
Southern people, right?
Right.
And can we get our son a good education? And in the first 6 years we lived here, we didn't move. We stayed in the same house, but our son went to 6 different schools. That's how fast it was growing in Gwinnett County. 6 different schools he attended.
Wow.
We thought, man, how can you get a good education doing this? Well, at the end of the day, our son Keith, he went to Valdosta State on a baseball scholarship, played 2 years there, and transferred to Kennesaw State because Valdosta was losing every game. And he had a really good junior year at Kennesaw State, and the Braves signed him.
That's right.
And you were coaching in the
I
minor
was
leagues at that
coaching
time.
in the minor leagues.
And so Keith played 2 years in the minor leagues.
Awesome.
And but he's figured out. He called me one day from West Palm Beach. He says, "Dad, I'm 22 years old now. I'm down here in extended spring training this year, and I'm playing with 17 and 19-year-old Dominican kids that can really play.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a future for me here." And I says, "Look, you're 22 years old, man. You're a big man." He signed for $1,000, took a shot at it.
Right.
So, but it's your decision. I'd like to see you stick with it. And he stayed with it about 2 more weeks. And then he wrote a letter of resignation and gave it to Lamar.
Chuck Lamar.
Chuck Lamar.
Yep.
He wrote him a letter of resignation and said, "Thanks for the opportunity, but I'm going home." He came home, stayed one night in his bed, went back to Kennesaw State and started taking classes again. And he just retired after 32 years as a principal in Gwinnett County.
Wow.
Principal.
Wow.
Now, you talk about a guy that's had an impact on other lives.
Yeah.
Right.
You got 3,200 kids in your school every year, a big school now. You had a big school. I'm real proud of him. And he raised 3 boys. And our oldest, our grandson, went to University of Georgia, married now, give us our first great-grandchild. He's a chief meteorologist on television and WHIO up in Dayton, Ohio. When I went up for our 50th anniversary this year, he came down and brought my great-grandson. And I got a couple of pictures of, and my little great-grandson had a Chaney jersey on. And you look over his shoulder, you see Chaney, and then you look down in the field and you see me sitting down there. Pretty
That's
good.
awesome.
Our middle grandson, I'll go with my youngest grandson is a pilot. Waiting to get in with United Airlines, but he's a flight instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And my middle grandson, Chase, is now in his 9th year in minor league baseball. He's a pitcher, signed right out of high school, 16th round draft pick. But he signed with the California Angels, played 6 years with them, become a free agent, signed with the Twins. Then they lost to what year is that? 22 to COVID, 2022.
20.
Right.
2020.
Yeah, he went to spring training and then they canceled everything.
They canceled.
Yeah.
And then he signed last year with the Minnesota Twins, had a really good season, and became a free agent again. And he's now with the New York Yankees in Tampa, Florida. So my point is, God's got a plan for everybody.
That's right.
I don't know if Chase can make it to the big leagues or not, but I'm also proud to say that there's 3 generations of the Cheneys that have played professional baseball.
Yeah.
No, how many people can say that either?
No.
God's blessed us. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been good.
Yeah.
So watching your son and you just kind of talked about that. When you talk about significance in Christ, what do you want people to remember about Darrel Chaney when it's all said and done? When you graduate is the way that my pastor likes to talk about it. When you graduate.
Good question, and I've thought about that, Matthew, an awful lot. I can remember when Phil Necro passed away. Phil and I our kids went to school together. Phil and I helped build the Shiloh High School dugouts together. When you pull up to his gravesite, have you been? You pull up to Phil's gravesite. It's an asphalt road that comes up there. There's a big stone bench there. And on one side of it that you see when you pull up in your car, it says, "I'm gone fishing." Phil loved to fish. I fished with Phil a lot. On the other side, it's got wonderful father, husband, son, all this Hall of Fame stats. I'm really kind of touching. I don't know what anybody will put on. I'm going to be cremated, so there's not going to be a whole lot of room to write anything. I think I want to be remembered as a guy who just tried as hard as he could. I've always tried hard.
Yeah.
I got let go by one of the companies in real estate that I worked for 1 year, and the guy wanted me to sign a letter of resignation, and I wouldn't sign it because I never quit on anything in my life.
Right.
And I told him, I said, "Why would I sign this when
Right.
I'm not quitting?
Yeah.
I think you're quitting on me. I've tried the best I can to do the best I can for this company. I tried the best I can to raise my family. I tried the best I can to play baseball. Not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but you heard my Hall of Fame speech. I just tried as hard as I could. So I guess if you wanted to put something on a headstone, he tried the best he could.
Mhm.
And God will take care of the rest.
That's right.
I'm comfort in my own skin. I tell people all the time. A lot of people call me a Bablick. He's half Catholic and he's half Baptist. I've had the privilege. I've had the privilege of a born and raised Catholic to speak from a podium of non-Catholic churches, about 500. I've made about 500 talks from Protestant churches' podiums, having been born and raised a Catholic. And my testimony to those people is the same as when I first gave it, because it doesn't, when you come to the Lord, that story doesn't change.
That's right.
And
Right.
so, when it's all said and done, that's what I'd like to have people say about me. I'm ready to go to heaven. I just don't want to go now because I get a chance to do something like this.
Yeah.
Talk to you guys and
Mm.
see hubby here. And have an opportunity to use the platform, as small as it might be, as a
Right.
former Major League Baseball player, to be sitting here right now with you guys
Right.
and professing my faith and maybe having an impact on someone out there in the audience. Who knows?
You never know.
So I don't want to go yet because I think
Right.
God's got me doing this for a reason. He woke me up this morning. He wakes us up every morning. I always say, okay, Lord, you woke me up this morning. What you got for me to do today?
What do you want me to do?
Just Holy Spirit, give me, make me be aware of you're working in here. And when you tell me to go do something, I pray the prayer of Jabez every morning, just a couple of sentences from the Old Testament. Bless me today, O Lord, indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand will be upon me and keep me from evil so they don't cause any pain. That part about enlarge my territory?
Yep.
When I pray that prayer, Glenn Hubbard says, can you come on February the 7th and do this podcast with me? I just prayed, enlarge my territory. Here I am.
Yeah.
The Lord's got something for us to do every day. We just got to be aware of how he's talking to us. Some days he might want us to just sit back and kick back and relax a little bit, but just certainly not forget about what he's doing in our life,
Right. That's good.
So
Agreed.
by the grace of God, I'm
That's
sitting here
good.
with you guys
Yep.
today.
Well, you
And
you never know the testimony that sometimes the seed you plant, you may never see the fruit that it produces, and you might, like you said, one day someone may come up to you and say,
That's right. That song.
because of you, because of what you said 10 years ago, or it's because of you that I heard the gospel, and you just never know.
You got time for
You
another?
might
you got-
might be the only light of Christ that anyone in this world might ever see.
You got time for another story?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is good, and it's all in the book. There's a book written about me. It's called "Welcome to the Big Leagues: Every Man's Journey to Significance," the Darrel Chaney story, and a lot of this stuff is in the book. And if people out there listening, and you just go to welcometothebigleagues.org. It's titled "Welcome to the Big Leagues" because that's what Ernie Banks said
That's
to me
what
years
Ernie
ago.
said.
And it's been out 12 years now, and it's still impacting lives. So one of the stories in the book, I get traded to the Braves, and we go back to Cincinnati for a summer weekend series with the Reds. And I'm chapel leader. I was chapel leader for the Reds. I was chapel leader for the Braves. And I'll never forget, we had this speaker named Nick the Greek Paraphilos was coming in to be our chapel speaker. And the chapel speaker comes for about 20 minutes, gives a testimony.
Right.
Some of them will pray to receive Christ for those guys that are, often going the wrong way.
Yeah. So
I call chapel. Sometimes you'll get 5 guys in there. Some guys you'll get the whole club. Depends on how they're going.
Right.
So I call chapel. Hey, we got a really good speaker, guys. Nick the Greek Paraphilos is coming in. bad guy in his day, was in prison, got a prison ministry going now. You got to listen to his testimony. So everybody starts walking in there. And it's in the visiting clubhouse at Old Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. There's a TV room as a kind of a theater thing, and that's where we would meet.
Right.
And I'm getting ready to close the door, and I'm thinking, okay, and I'm playing every day. I'm the shortstop for the Braves in '76, and I'm thinking, okay, we got either Billingham out there or Tom Seaver or whoever. I got to figure out how to hit that guy. Plus, I got to lead this chapel program here, and so I'm getting ready to close the door, and we had a bat boy there named Walter Neal. I don't know if you remember him. Young African-American kid. I would have guessed he was 16, 15 years old then. Arthur Neal. And so I'm getting ready to close the door, and Arthur comes up to me, and he says, "Hey, can I come in there?" And all I said was, "Yeah, go ahead." He walks in, closes the door. 20 minutes later, Nick prays the prayer to receive Christ. And amen, we all walk out. I don't know who it hit, if he hit a home run or what. I'm walking down, and it's a long walkway in Cincinnati. It's concrete. We all got metal spikes back then. Even though we're playing on turf, I had metal cleats on, and I'm walking, click, 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 click. And I hear this, I'm halfway, almost all the way down to the dugout, and I hear this guy running, Darrel, Darrel, Darrel. And I can hear his cleats clicking. I turn around, and it's Arthur Neal, the bat boy. He said, hey, thanks for letting me come in there. I just want you to know I prayed that prayer.
Amen.
Never know.
It ain't the end of the story.
Mm.
I said, well, good. Now you're supposed to go tell everybody. Now the Reds are still hitting out there. Why don't you go tell Pete Rose that you just accepted Christ? Now I was just kidding with him, and I knew he wouldn't do it, but
He did.
we're supposed to go. He didn't do it.
Oh.
But he didn't do it. But he prayed the prayer to receive Christ that day. The season goes on. The season's over. 77 comes along. He's not our bat boy. I don't know where he went. Lost touch with him. It was a good 25 years later. I'm at the airport. I'm flying all over the country in my real estate job, waiting for a flight in Atlanta. Here comes a 6'6" African-American guy with a trench coat on and a hat, like a derby hat. And he catches my eye, I catch his. I'm really bad with faces and names. But he says, hey, Darrel Chaney, how you doing? I looked up at him. Ooh, big man. I said, I'm doing pretty good. He says, you don't remember me, do you? I says, no, I'm sorry, I don't. I'm bad with names and faces. Arthur Neal. I'm Arthur Neal. I said, Arthur Neal, our bat boy? He said, yeah. And I said, what in the world have you been doing the last 30 years? And he said to me, man, he said, thanks to you. I've got my own church here in Fayetteville, Georgia. I've got a conference this week, and I'm here to pick up a couple guys that are speakers at my conference.
Wow. Wow.
All I said to him that baseball season was, yeah, go on in there. I said yes. A simple yes or no can have an eternal impact on someone's life, can it not? Now, I said yes. He goes in there. He becomes Christ. And just think about it. Over the years that he's had his church, how many people has he brought to the Lord? And that person brought to the Lord. And domino effect goes on and on and on.
Right.
Still going on today. Still going on today. So I don't know if that's a good story to quit on or not, but
That's a
that's a good story.
Beautiful story.
It's a
Absolutely.
great story.
Well, Darrel, we appreciate you. I mean, I appreciate you taking time to drive all the way out here. Your humility, your willingness to share. Obviously, I know it's hard sometimes for athletes to be willing to open up and share the man behind all the moments and be transparent with people. From growing up Hammond to the Big Red Machine to Atlanta and into a life of leadership and faith. That I mean, you've just been willing to be used. So I just want to say thank you for letting us sit in on your journey, and obviously to everybody listening. If this one encouraged you, do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you're following Outside the Diamond on Spotify.
Yep.
And we'll see you next episode. And until then,
Until then, there's one more thing I got to say. For all you listeners that are out there, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this before I left. Glenn Hubbard's a good man. He was a great baseball player. I think he's the greatest second baseman that ever played for the Braves. But beyond that, what he's doing with these podcasts and what you guys all together are doing. I've known Glenn since he first came up, and he's been solid all his life. He hasn't strayed away from his grounding. He's been a faithful man to his family and his wife, and he's an example for all. And I would hope that all the former players that Glenn's played with, or that you guys have in here, who don't know about Glenn's relationship with the Lord, may come into this studio one day and walk out a man of God.
Mm.
And that's the kind of influence you guys are going to have in this podcast thing here. So
Appreciate that.
thank you, Glenn.
Appreciate
thank you for
it,
your
Darrel.
whole life, man.
Thank
Keep it
you.
up. You're doing a great job. I love
Thank
you, buddy.
you.
All right.
Yep. Cool. Thanks,
Until then,
everybody. Bye, everybody.
keep living with purpose.
Amen.